Hey everyone, Brian from the PT channel here to talk about PT or physical therapy school debt. Now, that's something no one wants to talk about, but it's a fact of life. If you go to grad school, whether it be physical therapy or any other profession, you're going to have to pay a lot of money. A doctorate of physical therapy nowadays is 7 years of schooling, maybe 6 if you go to a program like in the Northeast at a couple different colleges there, where you can go from undergrad to grad school and finish with your doctorate of physical therapy straight through an accelerated program, basically, where you get to cut it down in a year, 6 years instead of 7. But a 7-year program is a lot of education, or 7 years of schooling if you go to undergrad and then grad school at a different school. It's a lot of schooling and very expensive. Now, undergrad, it'd be separate than grad school. So hopefully you're going to a school where you're saving some money, getting some loan money or some grant money or scholarships or something for undergrad where that's taken care of for minimal debt. Now if you go into grad school with a lot of debt there, then it's even going to compound that amount of expenses you're going to have to owe when it's all said and done, because there are deferment plans, and if you go from undergrad to grad school, you're going to keep to defer that even longer because you'll still be in school, I would think. But for PT debt, physical therapy school debt, we'll talk about that, and that's usually anywhere between 140 to 150,000 to 180 to 200,000, based on the cost of school, living expenses, books, fees, miscellaneous stuff, and how much loan money you're taking out. Because basically, some people would be 100% loans. That would be a lot of money to expense out for just day-to-day living, plus tuition, plus books, plus expenses, plus living far away and everything. So there's a lot of expenses that catch up with you. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of that beforehand and you develop a plan. I like to call your PT debt a PT mortgage. You know, when you buy a house, you're going to be spending around that, 150, 200,000, maybe even more if you want to get more pricier house. So it's scary to think about. Don't make it your whole world, but develop a plan about it, because your expenses will catch up with you on there too. Now, I took a poll of my class of physical therapy students, graduated a couple years ago in 2009, and we thought about it after being out of school for 4 or 5 years. We thought about, would you do it again? Would you be a physical therapist again based on the debt and based on the salaries you're making on there too? And some people said no because of the expenses that are on there. That's not to discourage you to go into the field, and shouldn't be going into physical therapy for the money. You should be going into it to help others, help people getting better back on their feet, and rehab them to a prior level of function or an improved level of function that they didn't have prior to that. But this is about money, so let's talk about money. So a couple different things that you want to think about. The first thing is develop a plan. If you know you want to go to physical therapy school, or it's going to take 7 years of college, develop that in high school. Work through high school, save your money, look at your money that you're going to have to owe, your tuition costs for what they would be there. Undergrad, if you have a Bright Futures or a prepaid system or something in your state, go to a college like that and make sure you're doing prerequisites. If you have any high school courses that can transfer into college and knock that down a little bit, that always helps, because it'll be less money, less stress, less year, maybe even a less year of undergrad. You know, see what you can do with that. But try to work when you can. If it be a part-time job while in undergrad, while a summer job to save your money, or even in PT school, you can work while in physical therapy school. When I was in school, the 3-year program, I worked my first and second years at the school gym, and worked my way up to be a manager to get about 20 some hours a week. Part-time status, 20 hours, maybe a little bit more. That's pretty good if you're making a decent amount of pay. You can do that for cut down on expenses, bar money, you know, alcohol money, whatever it is, because you are going to have a good time. So you want to have a good time when you're in PT school, but it'll help with things. Now, my father and I, we bought a condo in South Florida. He was the upfront money, and then when I got a job and whenever I had a little bit of money here and there, I would pay the mortgage and the condo association fee. So I tried to help out as best I could. But the big thing about it is you can work part-time. You can make a little extra money. It goes a long way. Save your money, and try to get roommates. Two extra roommates, 1 extra roommate, whatever. It goes a long way. If your rent is $1,500, $1,300 divided by 2, it can go a long way. pick your PT school, go to location, price, where you want to live, where you want to get a job after when you're all said and done, because that will play a factor in there. I know a lot of people like myself went out of state for it to get there, but I stayed local to the area and got a job outside of there, because you're more likely to get a job with one of your clinical rotations for that, plus to be local to your where you're living at. Now, school rankings, you want to make sure that's a decent look for why you pick the school, but also the price of the school is going to be very expensive. And here in Florida, there's 10 physical therapy schools. They all have ranging prices from, $10,000 a semester to around $8,000 or so a semester. Now, you want to pick the right school for you, but ultimately pick a right price of there too, versus, UF, St. Augustine, Miami, USF, and Nova Southeastern. Those are the main schools. FIU or another one that you go in there and you look at the prices for where they're at. Maybe you pick one based on that. Maybe you pick one you get in. That's the biggest thing. But ultimately, the debt is going to accumulate over time. Now, you got to think about it too. You have your tuition, your books, your living expenses, your gas, miscellaneous fees, probably buy a laptop. You're going to try and have some fun, and you're going to try and get around a little bit too. Maybe travel to conferences or get around a little bit for clinical rotations throughout your 3 years. So the other thing is when you have your loan money. Sallie Mae pays you twice a year or whatever you divide up your payments into. Don't spend it all. Don't get crazy in there too and buying laptops and this and animals and all this other stuff to do that. Try and save your money the best you can. Have fun with your money, that's for sure, but save as much as you can. So say your expenses for the year or for the time frame between checks is $10,000, $12,000, and you're getting a check for $15,000, but you're only spending about $12,000, maybe $13,000. So you're going to get an extra $2,000 in there sitting in the bank. Keep that, of course. Keep that in your bank. Get some interest on that if you have a savings account, and then try to take a little less amount if you can later on there too. So if you do that, if you have the extra $2,000 one half of the year, and then the other half you have an extra $2,000 again, that's an extra $4,000. By the second year, third year, you might be able to cut that last check down a little bit, or have that money to put towards your first payment, or have some breathing, some wiggle room in there too. Because when you graduate, you're going to usually take your test in July. Most schools graduate in May or August, and you'll take your board exam in July. Then you probably won't start working until August. But if you graduate in May, it's going to be a couple months in between there before you start getting your first paycheck in there too. And if you have some extra loan money in there, you could probably take a little vacation or have a little of that and have some wiggle room for that. Because once you start working, you're going to be the low person on the totem pole. You're not going to get PTO right away, and you're not going to be able to take time off. So when you make your money, you'll be able to, or your loan money you have left over, you'll be able to take a little vacation or have a plan, or maybe travel, or even relocate. If you're going to get a job there too, you're going to have to pay for a rental car or a rental truck, a place to live, rent, up front, all those costs. You're not working yet, so how are you going to pay for that? There's all the little things that come up with there said and done. So in summary, I know I said a lot of stuff here all over the place, I'm just trying to get my thoughts. PT school debt is inevitable, whether it be through your parents, through the government, through loans, through something. You're going to be paying money to someone, unless you have money like that. That's pretty incredible, but that's usually not the case. You're going to be around between $150,000 to $180,000 to $200,000 debt. So try to break that up, divide that, and expect that going into school beforehand. Try to do that. The other thing that I jumped into that too is I did undergrad, and then I took a year off, and then I made some extra money. So then my first year expenses were all kind of paid for with my money that I worked for the year. If you can do that, great. If you're in a hurry to get into PT school and do all that, that's fine too. But try and develop a plan like that. I didn't have that plan. I just kind of backed into that world, and that helped me to the expenses of the first year. But that's an option too. So if you don't get into PT school right away, it's not the end of the world. Just reapply, retake your GRE exam or whatever. But it actually worked out because I got to save money for a whole year living at home to pay for my first year of PT school living expenses and a couple other fees. So do that. Develop a plan now if you're getting ready for PT school, or if you're thinking about it. Or if you're in PT school and you have another year or so, or you're about to graduate or anything, it's always good to develop a plan for how you're going to pay for this stuff too. So always, guys, thank you. Like, share, subscribe, and if you can, just check out our other videos. Thank you.